Roll call. Toth. Here. Oberdorf.
Here.
Eckel.
Here.
Marquette.
Here.
Roos. Eben.
Here.
Reynolds.
Here.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes for the February 28th, 2022 regular council meeting?
So moved.
Do we need to excuse Mr. Roos, or is he?
I thought he was on.
Yeah, he's on
Yeah, I
Zoom.
thought he was on.
Sorry.
Kevin, how does that work?
If he's on virtual,
Yeah.
he can contribute just as,
Thought.
yep.
Okay.
Motion to approve the minutes, right? Did someone second it?
Second.
All those in favor of approving the minutes of February 28th, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Abstain.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda for the March 14th, 2022 regular council meeting?
Mayor, we're going to add Ordinance 2-12 and Public Works Committee minutes.
Move to accept as amended.
Second.
All those in favor of accepting the agenda as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay. Committee reports. I believe we have Public Works and Finance and Insurance.
Mr. Mayor, I'll be reading the finance minutes for Mr. Roos.
Floor is yours.
The meeting was called to order. Finance and Insurance Committee met on February 24th at 8:30 a.m. The meeting was called to order with the following committee members present: Mr. Roos as the chair and myself. Also present was Ms. Murray, City Administrator, Ms. O'Boyle, Director of Finance. Mr. Marquette was absent. Kevin Heben, Law Director, discussed two schools and how the expenditures and any profit, if sold, would work with the Rossford schools. The committee asked questions, and there was a short discussion on the same. The property tax bill for Indian Hills was also discussed. The RFQ for banking services proposals received, and the recommendation from the administration was to award Huntington National Bank the 5-year contract. Heben motioned to accept the recommendation, and Mr. Roos seconded. All ayes. Ms. O'Boyle provided an update on the audit and reported that the auditor stated everything was good for the first part of the testing. The findings from last year have been addressed, and he was pleased. Once the CAFR is prepared, additional testing will be done by the auditors. O'Boyle reported on the year-end financial reports for income tax and the overall general fund revenue expenditures as compared to 2020. She also reviewed the 2022 budget against the new cash carryover policy of 85% of the prior year actual revenue. The committee was pleased with the reports. Administration notified the committee of a few items, including administration will be transferring appropriation for a few projects cleanup from the sidewalk and gutters line item in Fund 303. If more is needed at the end of the year in the sidewalk line item, administration will ask for more, but it does not appear likely. The bids for the roundabout from Fund 370 came in over the budgeted amount, but within the 10% overage, the advertised estimate. Murray will look for council's approval on Monday. Again, this was last meeting, to award the contract. The appropriation will be transferred within the fund at this time and supplemented at a later date if needed. The Marina Dock Extension project requires approximately $6,000 more than budgeted due to unforeseen rot of the barrels once the docks were disassembled. This expense will be taken from the Public Works General Fund budget at this point and be replaced, if necessary, at the end of the year. The other cleanup items from prior finance directors are pending, and administration will inform the committee as it develops to 40 a.m.
Okay, any comments or questions? All right, Public Works.
Public Works Committee met March 10th at 4 p.m. at the zoning building. In attendance were Ms. Zakowski-Eckel, Ms. Reynolds, Ms. Murray, Mr. Kolb, Mr. Toth, and Mr. Audette. Dan Morey from the Carpenters Union spoke at the beginning of the meeting about the economic impact of misclassified workers and stopping tax fraud in the construction industry and its impact on lost tax revenue to the state and local governments. Mr. Audette went over monthly development and capital programs, stated that Scanell has completed their final site plan with earthwork to begin soon. Panattoni is currently working on their site plan. The concessions building had not received any proposals by March 11th. The RFP will be modified and reposted by March 18th, 2022. The week of March 14th, 2022, the survey to develop a scope for repair of drainage system and pavement for Maryland Drive will begin. The roundabout at Crossroads and Sportsman's Drive is set to begin construction at the end of May, with work expecting to take 90 to 120 days. Mr. Audette also discussed the relining of the 24-inch sewer line and repairing the crown on Colony between Hillsdale Drive and Colony Court. The meeting adjourned at 5:15.
Okay, any comments or questions? Mr. Marquette?
On the concession stand, what do you think the problem is? Just too much work out there?
The risk and escalation in cost has really got people apprehensive. And what we did was basically design build project, and they didn't feel that there was enough information they wanted to design bid build projects. So we're going to meet again tomorrow and talk about another option of construction manager at risk and see if we can get it out. We extended the date until
December 31st of this year. Got an extension.
Opportunity to try to get out again. But we saw with the crop based on inflation, it's exceeding 10%.
Right.
And,
Well, I know we have a deadline we have to meet as well, don't we?
Yep, we had it extended. I actually talked with ODNR, and they agreed to extend it until the end of the year, December 31st. It was June, so we got 6 months.
Okay,
Extra.
beautiful. Thank you.
Okay. Reports of the merit administrator. Allison, do you have anything this evening?
Just very quickly, the city was notified last Friday that we will be receiving some funds for the opioid settlement the state of Ohio had. And so that's the ordinance 2022-12 that I asked to add to the agenda tonight so that we can set up a fund in order to put those monies into once we receive them. So that's all I have. Thank you.
I have nothing this evening. Mr. Watchell?
I have two pieces of correspondence, Mayor. The first one is addressed to Sergeant Anthony Allen, Officer Brandon Dean, and Officer Brandon Lewis from Chief Todd Kitzler. It's a letter of commendation dated March the 11th. Gentlemen, during the early morning hours of March 1st, you were dispatched to a report of the occupants of a black Jeep breaking into vehicles on Ironwood. Sergeant Abel was able to locate the vehicle and suspects as they continued their misdeeds on Bruns Drive. He attempted to stop the vehicle, and his vehicle was subsequently rammed by the other vehicle as it fled the area. A vehicular pursuit was initiated by Sergeant Allen and Officer Lewis as Officer Dean remained in the city. The pursuit continued on I-75 South for approximately 28 miles before the driver of the vehicle crashed while exiting the interstate at Signet. Sergeant Allen and Officer Lewis were able to apprehend the 4 occupants of the vehicle after a short pursuit on foot. They were also able to recover property that had been stolen from our citizens. Vehicular pursuits can be very dangerous to both the officers conducting them and the public at large. All 3 of the officers displayed sound judgment and common sense to remain within policy and were able to bring this incident to an end with minimal injury and property damage. Sincerely, Todd Kitzler, Chief of Police. The other one is addressed to Sergeant Patrick Kwiatkowski, also from Chief Kitzler. Letter of commendation dated March Kwiatkowski. While on patrol on March 9th, you observed a vehicle on Buck Road whose driver was possibly involved in a road rage incident. The driver pulled into a parking lot and exit the vehicle brandishing an AR-15 pistol at his side. You contacted the individuals and were able to de-escalate a situation that potentially could have ended tragic. Skills and road savvy led to an arrest for aggravated menacing and child endangerment. I commend you for your actions and service on that day. Keep up the great work.
Introduction of ordinances. Is there a motion to read ordinance 2022-10 by title only?
So moved.
Second.
Say aye.
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 Any opposed? 2022-10 is an ordinance track with Tetra Tech on the annual paving and roadway design project and declaring an emergency. This is the second reading.
Mr. Even?
This is just adding Windsor Drive onto our road plan, our road improvement project. The only reason this really didn't pass last Monday is we didn't have a quorum to pass it. I think we should pass it this evening.
I do too. You want to make
Motion
the
to
motion?
suspend with the third reading.
Second.
Does anyone in the audience have a problem with us passing this evening or any questions in regards to it? No.
All those in favor of suspending with the third reading, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion to declare an emergency?
Second.
All those in favor of declaring an emergency, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Move to adopt ordinance 2022-10.
Second.
Vote on the motion to adopt. Heben.
Aye.
Reynolds.
Aye.
Toth.
Aye.
Oberdorf.
Aye.
Eckel.
Aye.
Marquette. Abstain.
It's 2020-11 is that 2020 or 2022?
2020.
That's supposed to be 2022, Mayor.
Okay, that's what I thought. Is there a motion to read ordinance 2022-11 by title only?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor of reading by title only, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 2022-11 is an ordinance authorizing the purchase of one police vehicle through the State of Ohio Cooperative Purchasing Program, waiving competitive bidding and declaring an emergency. This is a first reading.
I see no reason for this not to pass this evening.
Move to suspend with the second and third readings.
I just have one question. Caroline,
ahead.
is this the one where we planned on doing it on schedule?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Second.
Okay, anyone in the audience have,
Yes, Jeff Elphont, 177 Ham. I questioned this ordinance last fall, late summer last fall, because you purchased 3 new vehicles. And a year ago, you purchased 1, and I questioned why now we're in the sense of buying 5 new vehicles within a year. And no one could give me an answer. And where I had to have an officer come to my house twice, once to file a complaint, once to do a follow-up. And he indicated he was late because he had to wait for the guy ahead of him to bring the car back. If we're not using the cars, but we're buying 5 cars within a year, why can't I get an officer there on time?
Allison?
We had so many that were down and out for, we replaced 3 last year in order to get us up to speed. And now we're going to replace 1 a year.
So how many cars do we have going to auction this year?
3.
3?
They're all going to be reutilized, so we won't have any at auction. They'll be reutilized within the
Within the
city.
system?
Within the city.
For what? I mean, for
Zoning.
police use?
No, no, my goodness, no.
I mean,
Police
and the funny thing was, is a lot of you guys, and as part of the discussion was the high mileage on these cars. When that officer pulled up, and I don't know how old the car was, it only had 90,000 miles on it. That's not a lot of miles anymore, especially just tooling around town and stuff like that. Probably most of the time it's parked somewhere with it running on the engine. But, I mean, I think it's odd that, you put this in place and you dump 3 more cars into it and spend a whole lot of money, and you bought the cars. And if we're turning them over that fast, we ought to be thinking about,
Well, with our old system, even though we were replacing a car a year, that would mean we would have, the oldest car would be 7 years old. And
okay,
that
but how
was-
many miles?
That was just too much wear and tear. It just got too much.
But how many miles on that vehicle that's 7 years old?
I have no idea how
All
much,
right.
how many
So,
miles.
that guy pulled up and
But they're
he's got
being used.
90,000. Yeah, well, I mean,
And we don't just junk perfectly good vehicles. We remove the weakest from the fleet and the ones in the worst shape.
but when we went into 3 vehicles as opposed to 1 last year, which was 4, I mean, it amounted to 4, how do we get to that point?
Because there were so many repairs on 3 of the vehicles that we needed to replace them. Like now, not one, to replace that 3rd vehicle 3 years out just doesn't make sense to pay for those repairs for those 3 years, just because,
Another mileage.
yeah.
Okay, on the other note, though, why is an officer sitting, waiting for a car to come in and not being out on the road? Now, you got 2 guys at the station.
When was this?
This was this past summer. I called the guy. I had a speeding incident on Hannum, and I found out who the guy was the following day. I requested the officer come back. He came back. He said I would have been here sooner if I wasn't waiting for the car to come in. Why are we sharing cars? Why isn't an officer out on the road while an officer's coming in? You know what I mean?
I don't know what the situation was with the cars, but we didn't have those 3 cars.
Yeah, I can look into what that situation was exactly, but my guess would be, at that time, we didn't have the 3 new cars because they were so far out that we didn't get them until the end of the year last year. And we had 3 at least at any time that was always in the shop because they were always breaking down, which is why we needed to replace 3 last year.
Okay.
And if you had an officer out of the district, you know, doing a warrant or something,
So your indication is this should never happen?
what should never happen?
That I'm waiting, that an officer is standing at the station waiting for a car, that he's not out on the road?
We're trying to keep our police fleet.
I'm saying, though, this should never happen,
No.
right? This is going to
We have,
alleviate it.
we have,
It shouldn't happen.
listen to me, we have 2 or 3 officers on the road all the time. I would imagine the other 2 were responding to calls or filling out reports or doing something. We always have officers
Well, I
on the road.
understand that. I mean, I can understand that part of it. What I don't understand is why he's waiting for the car to come in so he can get in the car to get on the road.
It's too hard to figure out what was going on in that situation 9 months later.
You're actually making the point for us. We need these vehicles so we can constantly be patrolling and responding to calls. So we're not talking about it any further this evening. If you want to bring it back up during audience remarks, that's fine. It's been well over 3 minutes. So I would ask council to vote on this because it's the smart thing to do and the safe thing to do for the citizens of Rossburg.
But just to answer one quick question,
Go ahead.
it should never happen, right? And this is to alleviate.
It didn't happen.
Yes, it did happen.
No, it didn't.
I was there.
We had officers on the road.
He told me specifically he was.
This was
waiting
not a
for the-
high-profile
Captain Hans,
call.
if you get with me after the meeting, I'll look up that.
Are you calling me a
incident.
liar?
No.
Yes,
I'm
you
s-
are.
No, I'm not arguing with you.
You are telling me it did not happen.
I'm telling you, we had
That is-
officers.
that is untrue.
That's not a high-profile call.
High profile
They-
call or
he
not, what
was
about the
wi-
next time it is? Is this to alleviate that from happening?
We rotate police cars in and out.
It's not the
Remember-
rotation of the cars, it's why an officer is not able to get on the road without waiting for a guy to check in.
We had officers on the road that evening,
Not the replacement officer.
not the guy that was coming to see you because it was not a high-profile call.
I'm not saying it was a high
So
priority.
anyways, we're done talking about it. You can bring it up during audience
Of course we
remarks.
are, because you're not giving me the right answer.
No, the right
Yes,
answer
you're not
is,
giving me the correct answer.
please have a
It
seat.
shouldn't happen, correct?
Please have a seat.
It shouldn't happen.
Anybody else?
No.
Vote on the motion to, all those in favor of suspending with the second and third reading, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Move to declare this an emergency.
Second.
All those in favor of declaring an emergency, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Move adoption.
Second.
Vote on the motion to adopt. Eckel,
Aye.
Marquette,
Aye.
Roos,
Aye.
Eben,
Aye.
Reynolds,
Aye.
Toth. Aye. Oberdorf.
Aye.
Is there a motion to read ordinance 2022-12 by title only?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of reading by title only, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 2022-12 is an ordinance creating a special revenue fund for the LG share of the One Ohio funds. This is a first reading.
Allison,
This
Or
can
Todd.
go This could go another,
Question, quick.
go ahead, Ms. Marquette.
Does this money have to be earmarked for something specific?
yes. It's very tight, the guidelines that we can use it for, mostly addiction awareness, anything that has to do with the police and addiction, any type of violence because of addiction, anything like that. So it's very specific what we can use it for.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
And this is just to establish the fund to cash
This
the
is
check,
just
so
to
to speak.
establish the fund in order so that we can put those funds into it when we receive them. I don't look for us to get very much, but we are getting something.
Do you just want to move it forward?
It's fine, whatever council decides.
I'll move to suspension of second, third readings.
Second.
Anyone in the audience have a problem with us passing this evening or any questions in regards to it? No.
All those in favor of suspending with the second and third reading, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Move adoption of ordinance 2022-12.
Second.
Vote on the motion to adopt. Marquette,
Aye.
Eckel,
Aye.
Oberdorf,
Aye.
Toth,
Aye.
Reynolds,
Aye.
Heben,
Aye.
Roos.
Aye.
Okay, introduction of resolutions. Is there a motion to read Resolution 2022-06 by title only?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of reading by title only, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? 2022-06 is a resolution authorizing the city administrator to submit an application for a Transportation Improvement District TID grant and declaring an emergency. This is a first reading.
Allison, do you want to explain this?
Yes, this is actually so that we can do a study, Todd can do a study for crossroads access along 795 and then up the Glenwood corridor because there will be congested traffic probably coming as that builds out. So we want to do some planning and development in order to make sure that we are making the right choices and the right decisions considering traveling along that corridor. So this would be an application only for the grant. And it does have a deadline of March 31st, so we'd like to put it in sooner rather than later.
Motion to suspend with the second and third reading.
Second.
Is there anyone in the audience has a problem with us passing this evening or any questions in regards to it? No.
All those in favor of suspending with the second and third reading, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Move to declare 2022-06 an emergency.
Second.
All those in favor of declaring an emergency, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Move to adopt 2022, Resolution 2022-06.
Second.
Vote on the motion to adopt. Heben.
Aye.
Reynolds.
Aye.
Toth.
Aye.
Oberdorf.
Aye.
Eckel.
Aye.
Marquette.
Aye.
Roos.
Is there a motion to read resolution?
Did I hear him say aye?
Robert?
Can you tell if he's still on?
It looks like he's still on. Mr. Roos?
Yes.
22-07 by title only.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of reading by title only, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 2022-07 is a resolution to approve the mayor's reappointment of Kevin Weeks to the Toledo Area Regional Transit Authority, TARTA, and declaring an emergency.
Kevin's done a great job representing our great city. He's very engaged and very active and has the respect of their board. So I would respectfully ask the city council to reappoint him to the TARTA board.
Move to suspend the second and third reading of 2022-07.
Second.
Is there anyone in the audience that would have a problem with us doing this evening or any questions in regards to it?
All those in favor of suspending with the second and third reading, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Move to declare 2022-07 an emergency measure.
Second.
All those in favor of declaring an emergency, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Move for adoption.
Second.
Vote on the motion to adopt. Oberdorf.
Aye.
Toth.
Aye.
Reynolds.
Aye.
Heben.
Aye.
Roos.
That sounded like an
Sound like
aye.
yes.
Marquette.
Yes.
Eckel.
Aye.
Okay. Is there a motion to read Resolution 2022-08 by title only?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of reading by title only, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 2022-08 is a resolution authorizing the city administrator to enter into a housing revolving loan fund administration agreement with the Ohio Department of Development and declaring an emergency. This is a first reading.
Allison, this is housekeeping, right? We do
Yes, it
this
is.
every,
Every few years, we enter into agreement. It's managed through the county. It's for the low-income needs. They used to call the program CHIP,
that's right.
so.
Move suspension of the second, third readings.
Does anyone in the audience have a problem with us passing this evening, or any questions in regards to it? No.
All those in favor of suspending with the second and third reading, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Move to declare an emergency.
All those in favor of declaring an emergency, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Move adoption. Second.
Vote on the motion to adopt. Resolution 2022-08. Eckel?
Aye.
Oberdorf?
Aye.
Toth?
Aye.
Reynolds?
Aye.
Heben?
Aye.
Roos?
Robert?
Marquette?
Aye.
Eckel?
Aye.
I'll show it as a no vote.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Council remarks. Mr. Toth, you have anything this evening?
Nothing tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Oberdorf?
Yeah, just one item. The rec department is having a Help the Ukraine donation drive. I've got a flyer here. I'll leave it on the table. It's from March the 11th to the 25th. It's got a number of different items that you can bring in. They showed us a picture of already. They've got tons of stuff being brought in already. So I'll leave this on the table in case anybody really wants to look at it more thoroughly.
Thank you.
That's it.
Mrs. Eckel?
I have nothing.
Mr. Marquette?
The
Mr. Roos? Mr. Heven?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Mrs. Reynolds?
Nothing from me.
Okay. Audience remarks.
Jeff Alphonse, 177 Hannum. Who's my go-to person on council for Northwest Water Sewer?
The administration is.
Okay. In front of 183 Hannum, they replaced the sewer line from the house to the street this past fall, late fall. They had to remove the curbs. There's a pile. Of course, they didn't level the yard out because of probably settling and as late as it was, but there is a pile of asphalt laying there in the yard, which through the wintertime, the snow plows were spreading it all up and down Hannum into the yards, throwing it at cars. I was wondering what the time frame would be to eliminate it.
Allison, can you give them a call tomorrow?
Yeah, I can't speak for them, but I'll definitely contact them tomorrow.
Yeah, see when we're on the schedule to get the curb, because it had to tear out the curbing. So the curbing's gone, and so they'll need to replace curbing. But mainly, I'd appreciate if the blacktop pebbles grindings were removed so they're not getting spread all over the place. I don't know if
I'll contact
we're
them
going to have any
tomorrow.
more winters.
What was the address again?
183 Charlotte.
83.
Joy Charlotte. 183. Can't miss it. Black Bob about this high. Thank you.
Okay. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
It's a lonely 6 o'clock meetings.
I know, aren't they great?
Whose idea was this?
I'll take that.
All right. You got it.